I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave.
We now continue with more of the Mark Milton Show with The Smash on 590 The Fan and 590thefan.com.
Oh, yeah.
You're a model, man.
I just picture myself dancing around my living room
Let me hear
in my
verse.
pajamas. No chance.
Sexy.
No chance. You got the voice for this.
No, you.
No way. No way.
Come on, you're a model.
No, I'm not singing.
You want to walk
No.
the catwalk?
No. All right, you're listening to the Mark Milton Show with The Smash, broadcasting from the Miller Furniture Studios,
Well,
presented by STLTaxler.com. Miller Furniture with 3 locations now in Belleville, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville, all extremely convenient. Really, no matter where you live in the St. Louis area,
right.
you can go in person to a Miller Furniture store and check out all of the great American-made furniture they have, as well as furniture that's available for immediate delivery, which has been an issue, worldwide supply chain issues.
That's right.
Impacting most furniture stores. Not Miller Furniture. They were ahead of the game. They ordered a bunch of stuff to keep in stock in their inventory. So be sure to check them out in Belleville, Lake St. Louis, or their new Ellisville store on Manchester, 1.2 miles east of Clarkson Road. And you can also shop anytime, 24 hours a day at millerfurniture.com. It's MUELLER furniture.com. Smash, this week we had just, in my view, and again, people know I'm more conservative, Republican, whatever you want to say. But in my view, what happened this week with the G7 and this summit with Putin, objectively, not if you're looking at it from a completely objective lens, was a complete and utter disaster for our country. I don't know how closely you followed it. Well,
I've followed it all the way.
So let's start with the G7.
All right.
Okay. You've got the leaders of Canada, France, Great Britain, Germany, and who else? Japan, and then the U.S., the 7. And these guys, it's all these liberal elites who, they show up and they're on this weird stage and I guess some beach location in it was in England somewhere, or Great Britain somewhere, and they're doing the elbow bumps,
the elbow thing,
just the what's the phrase they use when people virtue signaling, just doing that. And acting like, and then you see them up close and they're talking, up close and personal. It's like you got Trudeau from Canada, Canada's had some of the strictest lockdowns like anywhere in the world. Yeah. But yet here he is gallivanting around the globe, being up close and personal with all these people. Right. I don't know. It just kind of made my stomach churn to watch that. And then also to see what they talked about. Mm-hmm. They're talking, global warming and, climate change and all this stuff. And it's like, do you guys realize what's happening right now in the world? Like literally China, Russia, Iran are just licking their chops at the rest of the world. And you've got these 7 supposed to be leaders of the free world who are talking about climate change as like the greatest threat we face. And it's just so incredible to me. And then Biden, he just looks completely gone. Mentally, he's just not there. And then if you talk about the Geneva, so then he goes from the G7 in Great Britain to Geneva to meet Putin. Right. Now, why he did this, I really don't understand.
It's kind of a giving Trump the finger type of meeting.
See, is that what you think?
That's what I think it is.
Because I just do not understand what was to be gained from giving Putin that sort of a platform, a stage, if you will.
Well, it shows that he has the guts to look Putin in the eye and say, you can't treat the United States this way. But when they asked him, and the question was, you called Mr. Putin a killer a year or so ago. Do you still think now, more or less, you're face-to-face, do you still think he's a killer? And Biden had no answer whatsoever. The answer is yes.
Right.
And he just him-hawed to the point of silence, dropping it at the end. Man, it was a terrible look for the U.S.
Well, and also, I am so sick of Joe Biden acting like he's some kind of a badass. There's like this. I don't know if his handlers are like if it's his ego, but I'm Joe Biden. I'm gonna tell him exactly what I think he needs to hear. Right. It's like nobody's afraid of you. Yeah. Nobody's intimidated by you.
Exactly.
Putin is an intimidating guy. If you wanna talk like intimidating, because he is a killer. Yeah. Joe Biden, you've been in politics for 45 years, 50 years.
Yep.
Nobody's afraid of you.
Right.
And you don't know where you are half the time. Yep. And you put on your aviators and think you're like some kind of badass at age 77.
Right.
The guy looks frail. He's up there. I don't know if you saw his press conference.
Frail,
his press conference, he like sort of awkwardly took off his jacket.
Yeah.
And he's standing there just looking incredibly old and weak in his white dress shirt.
Yeah.
And then he kind of snapped at the reporters as they started to ask.
That was
like an old man at a nursing home who kind of was upset about the meal he was given, he kind of just went off on this CNN reporter.
CNN reporter, exactly.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is like the biggest stage you could be on.
Yeah.
And everyone liked to talk about, what's Donald Trump going to do? Like, is he going to, is he going to do something crazy? And that was crazy. What Biden did was sort of insane. And you had reporters from around the world seeing this. It was just sort of shocking to me.
It was not only shocking, but it was a pitiful stance for the U.S. because it wasn't a strong, powerful, we are the leader stance. It was kind of like, okay, he's playing nice to the nicey to the Europeans and everything, and he's trying to be civil here to Putin, where he's talking badass stuff away from Putin, but he meets him face to face. They ain't doing nothing, and they meet for 3.5 hours, something like that, and nobody gets to see what that meeting is. So either one of them can say whatever happened. And it's just a terrible, terrible look for the U.S., in my opinion.
Well, and Biden's camp refused to do a joint press conference.
Yeah.
So then what ended up happening is Putin got like a whole hour with the entire press corps. He has 2 Russian flags draping him side by side, where normally every other time you've had these summits or these bilateral talks, both presidents will come out and do a joint press conference.
Yeah.
And so he gave him this stage to basically stand there and spew propaganda about how bad the U.S. is and how Russia's the victim. And then Biden waits until that's done to read prepared remarks. And then that's when he took off his jacket. And then as he's walking out, he was asked something about, why do you have confidence about Putin changing? And it was kind of funny because he makes a pretty significant admission. He goes, I don't have confidence in anything.
Yeah, right.
And it was kind of like,
that was right.
Well, I don't have any confidence in you.
Exactly.
So it's kind of telling that he would not have confidence in himself or anything, is what he said.
Well, he accused Putin of doing all these cyber attacks and all that kind of stuff.
Russia did.
And Putin says, no, we didn't. You guys in the United States are doing cyber attacks, and we're just defending ourselves. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this guy, Biden, doesn't have the oomph that you need to deliver a message like that to a guy like that.
And a guy like that is the point. You don't deliver that message in a sit-down fireside chat, okay?
Yeah.
That's not going to move the needle at all for a guy like Putin.
Right.
Putin reacts to pressure, and he reacts to threats to his power and his wealth.
Yeah.
Okay? So what did Joe Biden do to do that? Oh, let's see. Oh, just let him. Biden's administration has allowed Russia to continue with the pipeline to Germany, one of our supposed great allies.
Yeah.
So now Germany is going to get oil from Russia, which is only going to make Putin richer, make Russia richer. And then we canceled the Keystone Pipeline.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So now we lost a great source of wealth for our nation, which would have been built had, with
jobs,
Canada, we had a pipeline
Yeah.
going into Canada, jobs and all that. Oh, and also the pipeline on the East Coast, which caused the oil crisis.
Exactly.
Oh, it was attacked by Russian. This is like, when you think of it, it's like 3 pipelines that Russia has kicked our ass on all 3 fronts in a way, all because of really Biden, his lack of inaction and his lack of action in terminating the Keystone Pipeline. So again, I go back to my earlier points. Like, what was the point of this meeting?
It's all show.
It was all show, but it was
That's
a
all it
bad
is.
show. It was a bad show for the U.S. It was a great show for Putin. Not for Russia, but for Putin. Putin got to get up there and basically play the victim and really just kind of embarrass the U.S. I mean, he made a lot of comments about our race issues and all this stuff. I mean, the guy's a genius when it comes to sowing division.
Exactly right.
He praises Trump. Like he knows how to kind of get the media to get upset or to get fired up. And that's what also bothered me. Last night or I guess it was on Wednesday night after the summit, I said, that was just such a terrible performance by Biden. Surely the people on CNN and MSNBC are going to start to acknowledge this. So I turn over to Brian Williams, who's the great journalist, right? He's the unbiased, nonpartisan newsman.
Oh, yeah.
And what are they talking about?
He'll make up some
what they're
stories,
talking
too.
about?
What?
Trump's meeting with Putin.
Oh, brother.
Where Trump said,
Yeah.
Trump kind of joked with Putin,
Yeah,
like,
right.
you're not going to meddle in our elections anymore, are you?
Right.
And Putin's like, no. He laughed.
Yeah.
Which clearly a joke, but they're like making that seem like that was serious.
Yeah.
But what did Trump actually do? The actions mean more. He put heavy sanctions on Russia.
Yep.
Russia feared Trump. Russia stopped, going into Crimea. They stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really, from my stance, there weren't the cyber attacks that we have now under Biden. So the media, rather than focus on the disaster that was Joe Biden's performance, they're still obsessed with Trump.
Yeah.
They just can't get past it.
They're obsessed with Trump because they know Trump's coming back, and this guy, Joe Biden, ain't putting on that good a show as far as governmental is concerned. And Trump's coming back. And if they don't do something now against Trump and build it to 2024, then boom, you got nothing but vanquishing.
Well, and
by the
Kamala
Republicans.
Harris has also been a disaster. We
Oh,
talked about her last week.
brother.
Her trip she went down to Guatemala and then to Mexico City.
Yeah.
And she honestly is one of the least impressive people I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, the way she's so unprofessional, the way she responds to questions, the way she kind of laughs things off, it's like, she's not presidential, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Biden is clearly, that ship has sailed on Biden's competence.
Right.
So it's like kind of scary to think about, like, who's running our country right now.
Well, do you believe that Susan Rice is running the country
That's
right
the
now?
rumor that she's, like, in the background.
I would not be surprised.
Well, why would that? I mean, I don't know.
So she's sharp, number one.
Oh,
I can't believe they didn't bring her on as vice president. Because
she has a lot of baggage. I mean, the whole Benghazi thing.
Exactly right.
She basically
I understand all that. Yeah.
lied about Americans being killed in a terrorist attack, and so I think she had a lot of baggage. But it's scary to think about what the next. I mean, we're only 6 months into this, 6 months into this presidency, and it's been a complete disaster.
Well, it's like the Middle Eastern nations who secretly sponsor ISIS, who secretly sponsor terrorism, can always say, well, our government didn't do anything like that. It's the same thing with Putin.
Mm-hmm.
Our government didn't do anything. Those are independent hackers. We can't stop them. That's your problem, not ours. We're trying to fight the U.S. hackers.
But see, we have to take the same approach that we did with terrorism. It's like, if you're sponsoring terrorism, you're responsible.
But you don't know they're sponsoring. That's how they get away with it.
They know that it's coming from Russia. Nothing happens in Russia that Putin doesn't know about or authorize. That's the difference. He obviously knows what's going on. If he wanted to crack down on it, he could. There's no doubt about it. And it's the same with China. I mean, there's cyber attacks that come out of China every day. Now, I don't know. Maybe the U.S. is doing counter cyber attacks. But the fact of the matter is, Russia is gaining steam. China is gaining steam. And we have a president who looks completely incompetent, just not up to the job.
Yeah.
And I worry what the next 3.5 years are going to look like, especially considering all the division we have in our country and all those things.
Well, I tell you what kind of ticked me off is him coming back and acting triumphant and stuff like that.
It's
It's
amazing.
like, come on, man. You weren't triumphant. These guys were triumphant. They're laughing at you behind your back, if not right in front of you. And they are not worried about any kind of pressure you can put on them because you ain't putting no pressure on them.
Well, and I think his strategy is, let's rally our allies. But I think that ship has sailed.
We don't have allies,
Well,
man.
we do, but they're impotent to stop China at this point.
Exactly.
I mean,
That's
you
what I'm
rally.
saying.
You
We
rally
don't have allies.
Let's rally Trudeau. Let's rally the guy from France.
They ain't gonna
I mean,
help us.
maybe Merkel in Germany. Germany has a little bit more, going on as far as, and Japan obviously has a huge incentive to keep China in check. But I think that ship has sailed. I've talked about before, we've allowed China to swell into this superpower.
Yeah.
And now we've become so weak as a country, economically, militarily. Our technology, our armed forces have been depleted because of our economic vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So I think we're as ripe now for some sort of attack than we've ever been, whether it be a cyber attack.
Yeah, right.
Really,
We are.
attacking the heart of our country.
We are.
Germ warfare. Look at that.
Who said that's what it is?
That was smashed.
Hi, how do you do?
And look at the devastation that has had on America.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Let me ask you this, though, on a lighter note as we wind up this particular bit. Are you taking into consideration for the walls in your new office any of the paintings by Hunter Biden? How are you adapting the look of your office?
But see, that's what's so funny. What he sold 500 paintings or something. How much money did he make off that?
Hundreds of thousands
Can
of
you
dollars.
imagine if Donald Trump Jr.
Millions.
sold, was it to Russian oligarchs?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he did something like that? I mean,
Junior did?
But Hunter Biden he gets away with everything. It's really remarkable. And and the media, that's what I was kind of curious. Like when Biden snapped at that CNN reporter, I'm like, talk about biting the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, but he did come back later.
And
before he got
apologize.
on, and he said he sorry for being such a wise guy. And I'm thinking to myself, wise guy. The only thing wise guy means anything nowadays is what's left of the mafia. Because wise guy was a funny guy back then, but a wise guy ain't a funny guy anymore.
See, here's what happened. I think what happened was, he had taken the jacket off. It was late in the afternoon. He was ready for his nap.
Sure.
And as a geriatric, he needs that nap to stay vibrant. And I think there was one question too many. He interrupted his nap schedule, and he lost it. I know Smash. I know sometimes
By the way,
late
what time
afternoon,
is it? What time is it?
I know sometimes you get a little cranky, you get a little upset late in the afternoons, and that's okay. But you're also not leading the, you're also not supposed to be leading the free world. You're supposed to be able to, kind of overcome a little adversity. And that's the thing about Trump. Like, say what you will. I mean, the guy had flaws. There's no doubt about it. But his stamina, his ability. I mean, and that says a lot about a person. Yeah. The fact that he could go to 3 rallies in a night. The fact that he could get by on 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. Yeah. And it's just, that means something. And it's just, when you look at Biden, you look at his performance, you look at the day-to-day, the guy is just not up to the task.
Yeah. I'm just thinking to myself, I love that one picture you have hanging, scenes from an Elysian field. And I didn't know that Hunter Biden actually could see Elysian in any field. And yet at the same time, it's kind of a abstract yet magnificent piece of artwork, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I would agree. I'm not an art person. I don't really understand art. I'm more, like I said, autographs. Autographs. As Iggy says, autographs.
Autographs?
I like autographs. Graphs, as I call them for short. That's what lines my walls. That's what I mean, I have a couple of, I don't know. My wife buys stuff at Home
I am
Goods,
still, I'm with you. I'm astounded that this Hunter Biden has gotten off on all this deal, man.
It's unbelievable.
Nobody's busted him on
it. Really is.
Terrible.
The law doesn't apply. Yeah. The law doesn't apply.
That's exactly it.
To the left. It
Exactly
really doesn't. All right, you're listening to the Mark Milton Show with the Smash, broadcasting from the Miller Furniture Studios, presented by STLTaxLawyer.com. If you've got IRS problems, give us a call at Milton Law Group. You can call us at 314. Actually, I'll give you our 833-LAW-1040. That's
good.
Toll-free number, 833-LAW-1040.
Right.
Give us a call if you have IRS problems. Set up a consultation. We'll do what we can to help you out with your IRS or state tax issues. You can find us here on the Mark Milton Show with the Smash anytime at 590thefan.com, themarkmiltonshow.com, or Apple iTunes, or wherever. Now, if you're an Android user like Smash, what do you do? Stitcher? Dave, what's the podcast app? Do you guys have apps? Do you have apps on your...
I got something.
I hate to say it, but I listen to so much live radio, including oftentimes on Monday mornings when I'm driving home from somewhere else, I'll listen to the show, that I don't really use a regular podcast app. But when I want to listen to the podcast, I typically go to 590thefan.com.
There you go. You can go to 590thefan.com anytime. Download the podcast.
Yep.
Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hope you're having a great weekend. It's a scorcher. It's unbelievably hot this week. So be cool. Stay hydrated. I'm actually playing golf this afternoon. I'm hoping I don't die of a heat stroke. That would be very tragic.
You better be careful.
Gonna get out there and knock it around. So you're listening to the Mark Milton Show with the Smash. We'll be right back.